If you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, you might be pleasantly surprised by the fact that mainstream media outlets all of a sudden seem to love Bernie Sanders. He's been on MSNBC and CNN a lot more frequently. Now, the question is, why would they all of a sudden start to cover Bernie Sanders more often if during his campaign they chose to air empty podiums of Donald Trump campaign events and basically gave Bernie Sanders zero coverage? So why all of a sudden do they want to care about Bernie Sanders and talk about Bernie Sanders? Well, Jordan Sheridan of TYT Politics, he penned an article for Mediaite that I thought was fantastic. And let me just say this, Jordan Sheridan is one of the best journalists in the country. So I respect everything that he has to say, and I couldn't not share this story. So here's what he states. He says CNN and others didn't cover Sanders because it wasn't in their financial interest to do so. This logic is ironic since Sanders drew in the demographics that's been leaving cable news for years, millennials. So it's been a big surprise to see that now, all of a sudden, CNN can't get enough of Bernie. They did a town hall with him, and now, by the looks of their promo commercials, are holding a heavyweight boxing match between Bernie Sanders and Senator Ted Cruz on the issue of healthcare. CNN has also booked Sanders much more consistently across platforms post-Democratic primary. MSNBC has also suddenly come down with a bad case of feel the burn after recently holding their own town hall with him. Morning Joe co-hosts Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski recently revealed that they were trying to arrange a road trip following Sanders across the country. How interesting is it that once Sanders no longer has an electoral shot, CNN and MSNBC can't get enough? This is a brazen attempt to cash in on the most popular politician in America and his legions of young supporters after suppressing his rise and policy proposals when it actually mattered. And I know the trolls are already tweeting, "Stop with your complaining, you're a sore loser Bernie bro." But this really isn't about Sanders, it's about the manipulative nature of our media. Decades ago, outlets like CNN actually adhered to journalistic principles. CNN abdicated all of this to grant Trump what he wanted, a reality TV campaign, and now it and others are breathlessly covering the reality TV presidency. They did so because it helped their ratings and profits at the expense of its viewer. All of this is a subtle attempt to deceive its audience into thinking someone like Sanders isn't a serious figure or candidate when they run for office or attempt to implement policy, but give them more coverage when he poses no risk. Now, this is something that I've actually alluded to in the past, but in meme form.
Back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot, they all on me. Back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot, they all on me. Back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot, they all on me.
So, I mean, Jordan Sheridan took the words out of my mouth. And, this corporate connection with media, I mean, that's the problem. So, if you have a corporate-controlled, a corporate-funded, a corporate-owned media, well, then you change their goal. The goal of the media is to inform people so that way when they watch, they learn more and can make a more informed decision when they enter the voting booth. But with corporate media, what they want is to boost their ratings so that way they're more profitable and that way they can charge more for advertisements. So, I mean, would you think that Goldman Sachs would feel comfortable advertising on CNN if they constantly talked about Bernie Sanders when Bernie Sanders was running and is saying, "I'm going to get in and send these crooks to jail"? Well, of course not. They're not willing to shake up the status quo. They want everything to be the same, where corporations are in charge. And look, even though I complain about the mainstream media, this is making me more popular. It's making people like the Young Turks, like Tim Black, like Kyle Kulinski, more popular. You can't inform the public while looking out for the interests of corporations. So this is why independent, non-corporate funded media is on the rise.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.